Happy New Year. I'm going to just wait a second for a couple people to come on. Hope everybody is doing well tonight. Thanks for joining me. My name is Michaela Lekas from Paint Fixation in Middleburg, Florida. I have a location at Antiques for You at 801 Lady Boulevard in Orange Park, Florida. So if you're local and you would like to purchase some Dixie Belle paint, stop on by the shop and pick something up. If you're not local, you can go to my website, www.paintfixation.com, and you can order Dixie Belle products from there, and they can be shipped directly to your home. I offer $8 flat shipping for anything under $50 and free shipping for anything over $50. So just let me get that out of the way. Okay. So tonight, when you come on, let me know where you're from. And if you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them if I can see them. It's kind of far away from my old eyes, but I will answer as many questions as I can tonight. And then afterwards, if I didn't catch everything, I'll go back to the replay and I'll answer your questions then as well. Sometimes it's easier if you tag me, and then I will, hi Dixie Belle, then I'll know that you added a question later in the replay if you're watching this on replay. Someone's from Florida. I'm from Florida as well, North Florida. It's nice today. We've had some really, really nice mild weather these last couple of days, but you know, we're in Florida. It's schizophrenic, so tomorrow it might be 100. Who knows? Okay, let's get to it. So tonight I wasn't really sure what I wanted to work on. All the pieces that I'm actually working on, I'm done with. I sprayed them today and finished them up. But a couple of friends of mine wanted me to show blending, and one of them wanted to do ombre, so I thought I would do them together. Blending is something that you know by watching some of the Dixie Belle ambassadors like Brush by Brandy, that some of them it just seems to come natural to. Hi, Amy. So it's not necessarily a natural, easy thing to do. It's something I've had to practice with. I know a lot of people want to know how to do it, but I think that for me, working with like colors seems to be easier to practice on rather than doing. I did a piece once where I did the In the Navy with Colonel Mustard, so that they kind of made a olive color when you blended it, and it turned out really pretty, but it was a little frustrating in some of the work because the colors are so different, and the blending was it was challenging. So, oh, we got someone from Australia. Hey. So tonight I'm just going to show you how you can do ombre using one color, and then when you blend it, it's a little bit easier to practice your blending. This looks like there's like this straight line right here in the video, but it's not really. I'm not sure why that's showing up like that. So let me show you what I did. I started out with cleaning this with White Lightning really well and gave it a little scuff with 320 grit sandpaper, because this piece is it's not slick enough for slick stick, but it's like a not a laminate but like a veneer, so it needed a little bit of a scuff. So what I did was I took Dixie Belle's Midnight Sky, which you can't see it because I'm a messy painter, but that's what this is, okay? And what I did was I put a little bit, and I got these little containers from the dollar store. They were 5 for $1, and they have lids. So I was able to work on this earlier and then put the lids on and put my brushes in a bag so that I didn't have to wash up or anything. So these are great for when you're working on small pieces, or if you want to mix up color, come up with your own colors, because Dixie Belle is really, really easy to make your own colors by mixing different colors. So what I did was I took the Midnight Sky and I put a little bit in here for the darkest color down here, okay? And then I added Dixie Belle's cotton, which is our whitest white, okay? And I took a plastic spoon, and you can actually see my spoons here. I have like a little ombre thing going on here with my spoons, okay? So I took a different spoon for each one, and I put a little bit of Midnight Sky, put the same amount of Midnight Sky in each of these other 3 containers that I have here. On the first one, I took 1 scoop of the cotton and mixed it up, okay? And that gave me this color, okay? So that's this color here, all right? Then I took my next color, I had the same amount of Midnight Sky in here, and then I added 2 scoops with my spoon and gave it a really good stir and came up with this color, which is this color here, okay? And then I took my last bowl, same thing, but on this one I added 3 big scoops of cotton to the Midnight Sky, okay? And that came out with my lightest color up here. So what's really neat about doing the ombre this way is that you have the same tone throughout your entire piece. You're not working with 2 completely different colors like cool or warm. All the colors are going to work really well together. Now, what I'm going to show you how I did this. This is 2 coats, but looking at it on the screen, and I'm not sure. Oh, you know what? That's not. I'm looking at the comments, the little line between the comments. So if I pull it this way, I don't see a line. But it's still a little bit of a straight line for me. I prefer it to be a little bit more blended. So I'm going to do another coat on here in just a minute, but I'm going to show you on the other side how I started the process. So you can kind of get an idea of how to start. So this has been cleaned, lightly scuffed, and I use a different brush for every color. And so I have all my brushes have the paint already on them, and I kept them next to the bowl because inevitably I would get them mixed up. And so each bowl has its own brush. Let me take these lids off. Okay. So I'm going to take and just start this one for you. And if you can't see the bottom, if you slide the comments to the side, then you can see the bottom of the screen. And if you have any questions while I'm doing this, please just ask. And if I catch it, I'll answer it for you. And Dixie Belle's on here too, so if it's something that they can answer, they will chime in as well. So I'm just going to take this is Midnight Sky that has not been lightened, and I'm going to just put this on here for a base coat. And you can see through it a little bit, but it doesn't matter because we're going to be putting another coat on here. So we're just going to get it on here. On the other side, I kind of came up on the edges a little bit just so that it wasn't so straight across. I did this really quickly today, so I'm probably going to, if I don't quite get it the way I want it, I might go back over. And that's what's so good about Dixie Belle is you can play with it, all day. And if you don't like the colors that you have, you just paint right over them, okay? All the products play really well together. And like I said, this has been prepped with white lightning. It was cleaned and then rinsed with water and then just lightly scuffed. I wouldn't normally even need to scuff it, but this piece was a little bit, I didn't realize this is kind of like a veneer on here, and I just felt like it needed a little scuff. But if you clean it really well, and if you're working with a wood product, you don't really have to sand. You can just paint right over the top of it, as long as it's cleaned properly. Okay, so now I'm going in with my second color, and this is Midnight Sky with 1 scoop of cotton. And this is the color that it came out to be. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the next level here. We're not going to blend at this time, okay? We're just laying out our first coat. Getting it on here. And what's neat about doing this too is you can kind of see the base color. You know how some colors pull blue, some pull green. You can see that the Midnight Sky is really close to black, because as you add the white to it, you get this really pretty gray. I mean, it's got a beautiful base to it. So if you don't have gray and you need gray, just add some white to your Midnight Sky. If you don't have Caviar, which is one of our blackest black. Okay, so I'm going in with my third color right here. This one has 2 scoops of cotton. And we're just going to lay this on. It's got such good coverage. Actually, it was kind of the Midnight by itself didn't seem to color quite as good, but when I added the cotton to it, it just it became much more opaque. Okay. Here we go. You know, and if you want a more jagged look, you really don't have to blend like we're going to do. But I kind of wanted to show both the techniques. You could do something with the breaks in here. You could do a drippy look. There's so many different ways you could do it, but we're gonna blend it together. Okay, that's that color. I'm gonna keep my brushes on top of my bowls so I don't get mixed up. I hope everybody had a happy new year. Can't believe it's another year gone by, 2020. Okay. And this is my lightest color. And you don't really need a lot of paint because we're just doing our first coat. Got a little hair on there. I'm out here on my back porch and I have dogs that eat out here, so I have to do a vacuum quite a bit if I don't want hair in my paint. I gotta keep an eye on it. I don't have my glasses on, so you might see it before I do. Okay. Now, so this really gives you, without the blending, this gives you a good idea of the different colors that you can get just by adding white to your paint. So so that's before we do anything, okay? Oh. And this is after it's been blended somewhat. It needs a little bit more blending, I think. I want it to be a little less straight lines on there, but you can definitely see the difference. So this is 2 coats over here. So we are at 1 coat over here. Okay, and you could do this with any color. You could start out with navy, and that would give you different layers of blue. You could do a red. You could do anything. So if you want to have your piece have some shades of the same color, doing it this way is a really easy way of doing it. You just want to make sure that you mix it, do it in steps. Start with your darkest color, and then just add white to each layer of colors. Okay, I've got my hair dryer here. I'm going to turn it on so that I can get this dry, so I can show you how I did my second layer. Sorry if this is really loud. So now I'm going to lay another layer of paint on here. So we're going to start back with our midnight sky without any lightning to it. And I'm just going to put my second coat on here. And the second coat covers really, really well. So, did anybody make their New Year's resolutions? I stopped making them because I kept breaking them. I seem to do better if I don't plan. And then if it happens, it's a happy accident. And I don't usually stay up till midnight because, well, I get tired. But this year, all of our neighbors decided that it would be a good idea to shoot off fireworks until 2 o'clock in the morning. So I got to stay up with them because I have animals and they don't like that. So I had a lot of company in my bed. There's my cat here. He's like, what are you doing out there? Why am I not out there with you? Which he's not allowed out here because he sheds terrible. So he is not allowed out here at all. Okay, so that's my second coat of the Midnight Sky. Now I'm going to start by just adding some of the next color down here towards the bottom. Just so that it's close to the darkest color. And I'm going to blend this in before I put it up there because I don't want this to dry before I'm ready to move on to the next color. Okay, so I have a thin brush that I'm using for blending, okay? And got my shop towel here, and I'm going to just very, 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 very lightly mist this, okay? Just one little mist. And I'm just going to come in here and very lightly pull these colors together. I'm not pressing down hard. Think of it like a feather touch. And I wipe my brush off so that it doesn't get too muddy with the colors. And if you get, your darker color too high up, it doesn't matter because we're going to go back in here with our lighter color in just a second. And you can do a crosshatch like I'm doing now. So I'm not a pro at blending, and I know a lot of you, I think a lot of people get intimidated by it, but you're never going to figure it out unless you try it, and it's really fun once you start seeing it all come together and the possibilities you can do. Dry blending, I'm doing a damp surface. Because I don't, if you do dry blending, you're going to get a lot more texture. And I don't want it to be thick, and I want it to be smooth, a smooth transition. Okay, so for my second coat, I'm happy with this. Okay. So I'm going to take that same color, and I'm going to bring it up into this color. I'm going to get this wet. And when you come down here, you can just lightly, because you don't have a lot of paint on your brush. You don't want a lot of paint on your brush, just enough to lay it out. This piece has some dry areas too. This is this is kind of my practice piece that I keep, and I practice different things on it. It's not a very good piece of furniture. So it stays here in one of our spare bedrooms. Nobody has any questions for me? Where is everybody tonight? Busy? Everybody still ringing in the new year? Or recovering from ringing in the new year? Okay. So that's that color. Now I'm going to take my third color that's here, and I'm going to get a wet edge on it. Okay. And then again, I'm going to get my blending brush, and I'm going to lightly mist. Just, oh, look what I did. I am such a messy painter. Look at that. Now see, live television. Everybody makes boo-boos. Just like that, it's fixed. Okay, so I'm going to lightly mist this. And I'm going to put a little bit more of this darker color here, just because I don't want it to come down so far. So I think blending to me is just learning how, just basically knowing when to stop, knowing when you have the look that you want, and then just playing with the brushes, playing with different directions that you're brushing it, and knowing when to take it lightly. Like if you could be here and feel how I'm doing this. I mean, you can kind of tell by the sound, but y'all probably can't hear it. But I'm barely touching the side of this cabinet. Okay. So we're going to take that third color again and take it up some. Okay, and then back with my lightest color. And this is still drying here. It's kind of uneven, but it's still wet. I have a little bit of a glare from these lights. Okay. All right, so then I get my blending brush. And come in there just like that. And that's still wet there. So this is still wet, so I'm going to turn it around, but you can see how it's not nearly as jagged of a line. It's much more soft in between each color. If you don't want a soft look, you can leave it harsher, depending on whatever look that you're going for. So I'm going to turn it around. This side over here is dry. And I'm just going to do one more coat on this side, just to see if I can get it to be a little bit more how I want it to go. So I'm going to go back, and I always start from dark to light. So I'm going to go back in with my dark color. And again, this was just 2 coats. So it's covered. The coverage is good. There's no wood showing through. But I want to see if I can get a little bit better line here. I'm kind of like, you know, once I see it, I'll know if it's how I want it to look. And then, you know, it might end up being a hot mess. but I can always redo it. Okay. So I'm going to go in here with the next color. Okay. So we got 2 wet edges. Got my blending brush here. I'm going to wipe it off. Give it a light mist. Sorry if I'm quiet. I have a hard time painting and talking at the same time. That's why on these lives I haven't done a lot of painting, because I feel like I get too into it and then I forget you guys are there, and I don't want y'all to feel forgotten. Okay, I like the way that that's turning out. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay, I love the colors. I actually thought that Midnight Sky had a little bit more of a blue base, so I was a little surprised when I started lightening it up, and it was definitely not blue. It's to me it almost looks like a true gray, but I know it's not true gray. Because it's not, Midnight Sky is not black. Caviars are black as black. But I thought it would have a little bit more of a blue base, so I was pleasantly surprised. Okay, so we've got these 2. That's our 3rd layer here. Now I'm going to go back in with the 3rd lightest color and hit this wet edge here. When you're doing it with a damp blend, you want to keep your edges a little bit damp so that you get that nice smooth line. But again, if you want it to be more textured, a little bit more thick, then you're going to want to do it with a dry blend. And that way your paint is a little bit more thick, and it gives you a little bit more texture. There we go. That 3rd coat just pretty much did it for me. That just blended really, it's almost cloud-like. Now it doesn't show because we've got shadows in here, but this is still wet. But this blending, this 3rd coat pretty much did it for me. I like the way that that's coming together. Okay. See, I don't want to forget what color I'm on. Okay. So I'm going to add this color a little bit higher up here. You can't come out here, honey. Can y'all hear my cat? He's not only just meowing, now he's growling at me like, like I'm ignoring him or something. Okay, so we've got that wet edge. Now I'm going to go in with our last color, our lightest color. I did it again. I'm very messy, guys. If you could see my clothes, oh my word. I'm very good at cleaning up mistakes. Okay, so we got that wet edge, a very light mist. and my last blend. And then I'll just finish it up with that lightest color. If y'all are commenting, I'm not getting any comments. Dixie Belle, I haven't seen any comments, which is unusual. So if they're just not showing up for me when I go back through the replay, please ask the questions that you have, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have on how I did this process. And if you are catching me at the end, then you can go back on the replay and watch it from the beginning so that you can see that. I'll tell you the products again before we are done. And all the products that I used tonight you can purchase on my website, paintfixation.com. And I can drop ship them directly to your home. Okay. And that's my last coat on there. So to reiterate what we did here, it's still drying a little bit, so you can't, this is really wet down here. I get that a little bit too wet, and the lighting here is terrible tonight. How's that? That's a little bit better. Okay, so what we did was I used Midnight Sky. The bottom color here is straight Midnight Sky right out of the can. Okay, that's in my first container here. All right, and I got these, like I said, I got these at a dollar store, 5 for $1. They have lids. They're great for small amounts of paint, so you don't waste your paint. Then the next container, the next 3 containers, I put the same amount of Midnight Sky in them. The first one, I put 1 scoop of cotton, and that gave me this color here. Stir up really, really well. And with these lids, guys, they're airtight, and so I can keep this for quite some time and use it for other projects if I decide not to do the front the same way. My third container has 2 full scoops of cotton in it to make this third gray here. And then lastly, my last one has 3 scoops of cotton to give this lightest gray here, using Midnight Sky as the primary color. So don't be afraid to blend, practice, and like I said, using 1 color and you're getting 4 colors out of it. Hi, Jennifer. It gives you the same tone throughout the whole piece, so it makes it a little bit easier to blend if you're, instead of using 2 different colors or even 2 totally different colors. Like if you're using, like I was saying before, if you're using like a navy and a yellow, it's definitely beautiful when you're done, but it's not the easiest way to learn how to blend. The easiest way to learn how to blend is to use like colors, and it's even easier if you're using 1 color and just lightening it up. So I hope I helped you out here a little bit with blending and made it not so scary. It's a lot of fun. Now my cat's scratching, so I'm sorry for the noise. He really is cute, but tonight he's really annoying and persistent. Anyway, I hope everybody had a wonderful holiday. I hope everybody had a beautiful Christmas, and I hope that your new year was wonderful and that your year coming up, you were just had a great year, and be blessed. So I'm going to go clean all of my brushes that I had to use. That's the only thing about blending is you do have to use a lot of brushes. I didn't really go through the brushes that I used tonight, but they were Dixie Belle brushes. I used one clean on that I had here, but the rest of them are all Dixie Belle brushes, which you can also get on my website, Paint Fixation. So I'll be back at the end of January for another live. So I hope that you join me then as well. And everybody have a great week. Thank you.